I'd like to talk to you today about the joys of fishing. As some of you may be an avid angler or a new member to the sport of fishing and decide to just take the day off from work, you can spend the day fishing at your favorite pond or lake. Fishing can be a relaxing experience for all to enjoy. Fishing, in my opinion, at your favorite spot has been a favorite pastime for folks throughout the centuries, not only as a hobby, but for some people, fishing has been their way of life to gather food for their families, to feed their families throughout the seasons. What would you do with a 10-pound bass, you ask? Many anglers, whether it is someone that does this activity for a living or one that does it for a pastime, often dream of catching the biggest fish. Their dream can and may one day come true, as humankind has been doing this activity for over 40,000 years. Therefore, I am sure that one day he or she can gloat about it to their friends and families when the biggest fish are caught and have the pictures to show as proof to their friends and families on their walls. When someone decides to take up the activity of fishing, there are many types of fishing activities one can do. I hope with this information I can give you the knowledge and information to have an enjoyable experience and not spend your day stuck digging out the mess of the line from your rod and reel. When it comes to fishing, you can fish in your local lake or stream or just about any body of water you can find. Just remember, for this favorite pastime, you will first need to obtain your fishing license, as nowadays you can't fish anywhere in the state without one, unless you're on your own private property or land. You can obtain your license from just about any sports-oriented business or at your local Walmart or a fish and bait and tackle shop. Next, you can then contact your state's Department of Natural Resources, where he can give you the required addresses and phone numbers for all the business in your area that need this legal requirement and this document. Once you have obtained your license, you are now ready to purchase your needed equipment to catch all the fish your heart desires. While searching for the perfect spot, you can start to decide how you're going to catch that big fish. You also need to remember to purchase many types of tackle and bait accessories that are required for your favorite fishing location. When you decide to go fishing, it is a good idea to research what type of fish that inhabits the body of water beforehand, before you plan for your outing. The internet is a great place to start to find this needed information you'll require, and most of all, because most of the bodies of water in your area don't carry the same type of fish, and they all have different kinds of fish in what bait they take. Your Department of Natural Resources in your state has done this for you already. They list what body of water you're going to for your state, and after you load up your gear, like a nice bait and tackle box, you can, with the information you gather, decide what rod and reel or special type of fishing will work best in the body of water you decide to fish at. With this preparation, you are now ready to head out to the lake or stream and try your hand at fishing. Just getting away from the everyday stress, fishing has been good for relieving anything that worries you, that helps refresh your outlook on life. When you decide to fish, you have many choices to pick from, as most fishermen call it the technique needed to catch that fish. Whether it's using a rod and reel, spear fishing, or using a fishing net, there are just a few techniques used to catch that fish. Next, you'll need to make the proper equipment choices to use. Without this, you're not going to catch a thing. Most people like to fish with a hook and a worm, but you can also use fake bait or many other types of fishing lures that you can find in any sporting goods store, such as Walmart again, or your local bait and tackle shop. If you're new to the sport and you haven't used an open reel before, I'd recommend that you purchase a good closed reel first and try your luck with that. When you become more experienced casting out your line, then you can move up to open reels and try your technique at keeping your finger on the line so that you do not end up with a mess. Most rods are used for lake or pond use. and others are for rivers and streams. When you purchase your rod, make sure it's recommended for the location you plan to fish at, as fishing with a river rod is hard to do in small areas. If you have a difficult time deciding which rod or reel to get, ask your sales representative at your local sporting goods or Walmart store, or ask your father or grandfather, as they have more than likely been doing this for many years. This here is a rod my husband and our kids use. It's an open reel. You can tell that by looking at this. And that's usually what we fish with. With all the information gathered, this would help make you the greatest experience possible with fishing. Just remember, it takes some skill and patience, and not everyone will be a professional on the first try. It takes it takes luck sometimes on a day that to become an awesome fisherman. You don't want to be the biggest fibber on the planet as to what and how big your recent catch was. So remember, with each fish you will learn what technique and bait is needed for each type of fish you catch. Also note that not all fish requires the same techniques to catch them, as some certain types of bait work for others, as like for catfish, bass, bluegill, and all the little fish that you may catch that day. For example, when you go fishing and you wish to catch a largemouth catfish, you can use chicken livers, red worms, and at times, depending on the time of day, some lures, such as the catfish, which are bottom feeders, they don't spend much time swimming in the water. So when you go to research each species of fish, you will learn that each type has a different feeding pattern or habit. You can use this information to your advantage. This will also help you decide what type of bait to use instead of guessing or the trial and error approach that causes most anglers to give up too soon and not enjoy their afternoon of fishing. As you research your local fishing spot, you gain information as to whether it is better to fish in the morning, afternoon, or evening, or when it's raining. And catfish get more active at those times, so it's better to fish for catfish during that time. Therefore, when you have gathered all the tips and hints to catch those fish, go out and have a good time and do not give up, as eventually you will become an avid angler and have your own stories to talk about with your friends and your family and your grandchildren one day when they ask you how you learned to fish. Even though some people like to fish solo, you can also decide to take along your entire family for the day and make a fishing experience and a family adventure, and a great way to spend quality time together with your family. Some women like me just hate the idea of touching a worm or a fish, so it's nice to have your husband or your grandfather along, or your sons, as they will help you take the fish off the hook. Remember that they have weight limits at some ponds or lakes, and this information can be found. Usually it's posted on the list of where the information sheet you get from the game warden, or it's listed at the park or site where you fish at. If it's a 14-inch or greater size fish, is allowed to be removed from that pond or lake. After you have read and understand the rules of fishing, you have all your necessary equipment gathered and the date chosen for your fishing adventure, prepare ahead of time and decide if you're taking out your best boat, because there's different kind of boats you can take. There's john boats and fishing boats, or just fish on the bank at a local family friend's pond or lake, and you'll be ready to enjoy a rewarding fishing experience. After you have all the preparations completed, load up your vehicle, get your family together, and head out to the lake you plan to try your luck at. Therefore, in conclusion, I hope that I've explained the proper process of preparing a fun and rewarding family fishing trip for you and your family to remember for years to come, and can look back on and reminisce on your fishing trip experience. Of course, you can always search the internet library or get help from a family friend who is an avid angler for tips and ideas on how to gain the most experience out of your fishing experience, especially if you're new to art of fishing. Always remember, so that you have an enjoyable time, be safe, have fun, and always follow the rules. Thank you.